going to talk to Terry Tozer, an aviation commentator, former pilot, and author of Confessions of an Airline Pilot, Why Planes Crash, about this very thing. Hello, Terry. Any idea why this plane did crash?
Well, there's a lot of speculation at the moment. It certainly doesn't seem to have been related to, or at least not caused by, the much vaunted bird strike. I suspect that the bird strike probably affected an engine, but I'm rather puzzled by the fact that we see the video of this aircraft on the runway at high speed without any undercarriage.
So it was landing, right? So that means the undercarriage, the wheels didn't come down for some reason.
Well, one wonders why not. Even if you have massive system failures, the 737, in common with the majority of airliners, has an emergency undercarriage lowering system that relies on nothing but gravity.
So you mean it would automatically drop whatever happens?
If you release the up locks, the wheels fall down and stay there. So why was the undercarriage knocked down? And also, the aircraft appeared to be traveling at very high speed and with some degree of thrust from the engines. Now, if you land an aircraft like that without any wheels and no power, it will come to a stop within a few hundred yards because of the excessive friction. So there was something that doesn't add up here. I wonder, there was a case back in 2020 of a Pakistan Airlines jet doing something similar where they forgot to put the undercarriage down.
They forgot?
Yeah, they were. That's the whole story on itself.
Right.
They were behaving in a very unprofessional manner, talking and not concentrating on the job. And they got the aircraft onto the runway on the engines and then opened up the throttles in order to take off again, and the engines failed. And I'm just wondering whether there might be some similarity with this. I'm only speculating because we don't have much hard information at the moment.
So where are these early talks of bird strike? It's obviously just happened today, and this is all speculation. So how long does it actually take for people to really piece together what happens, and how does that go? How do they even start doing that? Is that the black box thing, or?
Yeah, they've got the flight data recorder and the cockpit voice recorder, and both of those should tell investigators exactly what happened. They should have that information within a week or two. Whether they release it and whether they produce a preliminary report based on that, I can't really say, but they probably could do. I wonder if the bird strike that probably caused an engine failure somehow created problems that overloaded the crew and they just forgot to put the wheels down. I'm not saying that's definite, but I can't think of another explanation for the wheels not being down.
But you were saying that actually there appeared to be some sort of thrust. It did seem to be going quite fast, which would that be something to? It's a bird strike does seem to be. And I'm sort of astonished that we haven't come up with some sort of solution for bird strike, because the bird strike is essentially the birds being sucked into the engine. Is that right?
Well, yes, but it could strike other parts of the aircraft, not just necessarily the engine. But in this case, there's a video of from the ground showing that the right-hand engine on this aircraft with a puff of smoke coming out the back, which looks consistent with it swallowing a bird or two. But they're designed to do that. And even if one engine fails altogether, at the most critical point of your takeoff, the aircraft has to be able to continue the takeoff safely. So once you're already airborne, they fly quite well on one engine. There should have been no reason why, unless they lost both engines, which may well have created a big problem for the crew, but it still doesn't explain the undercarriage.
What's extraordinary to me, is that two people survived this crash. How does anyone survive that?
Well, they were sitting the crew seats right at the very, very back of the aircraft, and they obviously, it was pretty miraculous, but obviously they were in the only place that was survivable.
I've often looked at those, because I'm quite a nervous flyer, I've got to be honest. I've often looked at those statistics of where the safest place to sit on a plane is, and unfortunately some of them say the front, some of them say the back, almost none of them say the middle. Would that be fair?
It's one of those questions that's constantly debated, isn't it?
Yeah. But
But
if I was going to choose, do I have a statistically better place to sit on a plane?
there may be statistically support. There might be statistic support for sitting right down the back. It's usually the least comfortable place to sit. So I
Yeah, but
usually,
if I walk away from the plane, then I'm happy.
yeah, well, of course. But I tend to approach this from a different point of view. Buy your ticket on the right airline, you won't have an accident in the first place.
Well, yeah, well, I suppose so. I mean, do we know anything about the Jeju Air and their safety
Um,
record?
I, I don't know that much, no. But the whole chapter in my book is covers the safety culture in Korea, and
Well, there's a whole interesting. I read about that. It was a thing that they don't talk. They have a respect for hierarchy, which made it very difficult for people to call out mistakes to captains and stuff. But that's probably another thing. I read that in a Malcolm Gladwell book.